As Cid walks towards them, Zenon realizes that he is the one who has been going after their small bases. Cid introduces himself as Shadow, and Zenon thinks that he is a coward for attacking the bases where no core members of the cult were present. Zenon launches an attack, but Cid easily dodges it and mocks his ability. On the other hand, we see the knights trying to stop the monster, but their attacks have no effect, as it instantly heals itself. Princess Iris arrives and inflicts a more serious wound on the monster, but it heals that too. She decides to get more serious and cuts off the monster's arm, but the monster easily regenerates. She then decides to cut the monster into small pieces so that it won't be able to regenerate, and starts attacking it. Just then, Alpha arrives and states that Iris is just making the monster suffer. Alpha then launches her special attack, which not only defeats the monster but also cures it and returns it to its original human form of a young girl. Alpha also notices the same pendant on the girl that Claire's kidnapper had. She then told Iris that they were Shadow Garden and that they would take care of the situation, so she should just stay out of their way. As the Shadow Garden attack continued, Iris worried about her sister. Zenon decides to get more serious and uses more magic power. As they fought, Alexia realized that Cid's technique is the same as hers, but it had gone beyond excellence. Cid overpowered Zenon and injured him, but Zenon didn't give up. He decided to take his dose of steroids and turned into a monster. However, Cid mocked his strength and beat him down. He then tells Zenon about his pursuit of ultimate power, where he decided to become nuclear, in order to avoid being killed by it, and being the ultimate cringe lord, instead of normally finishing off his beaten opponent, he decides to show off and uses his ultimate move, I Am Atomic, which is as powerful as a nuclear weapon, and it left a giant crater in the middle of the city. Not sure if I should be impressed or worried that the Psycho MC casually unleashed a nuke just to show off and kill a single guy. Anyway, Alexia found herself unharmed, and she is motivated by her savior. So, she picked up the sword, and started practicing her fencing style. Just then, Iris arrived and was glad that Alexia was safe. Sometime later, Alexia returned to school and told Cid about what had happened. She thanked him for liking her fencing style. Even though Zenon is dead, she asks him if he would like to pretend to be a couple a little while longer. However, Cid refuses, which shocks her. Being the gentle girl she is, Alexia cuts him down. Later, it becomes known that some individuals discovered a massive amount of blood behind the school building, but no body was found, and this incident went on to become one of the school's 7 mysteries, known as the bodiless murder. We then see the Shadow Garden girls discussing the incident, and are getting wet thinking about the display of power shown by Cid. They then discuss a critical issue: someone is using their name to kill people in the name of justice, and they plan to apprehend the culprit. Meanwhile, Iris decides to form a new investigation team, as she lacks trust in the Knight's Order following the prior incident. She invites Glenn and Marco to join her, also revealing an artifact that serves as a clue. However, they require someone to decipher it. We are then introduced to a girl who is studying the same artifact, and she bumps into Cid, who is drenched in blood from Alexia's attack. We are then shown someone in a hood killing a man, and he identifies himself as a member of the Shadow Garden. The next day Skell and Poe wonder if Cid had any plot development with Alexia, but he mentions that they broke up and nothing happened between them, making them disappointed. They then invite Cid to visit a place that sells some good stuff which can make girls excited. It's called chocolate. Curious about this world's chocolate, Cid agrees to go with them. Iris shows the artifact which they found from the hideout of the cult to Sherry Barnett, who is considered as the most brilliant mind of the kingdom. She asks Sherry to decipher it, and with her father's encouragement, Sherry accepts. Iris assigns Glenn and Marco for her protection. Alexia also wants to help, so she convinces Iris to let her join the team. Meanwhile, Cid and his friends wait in line to enter the store, but the wait time is 80 minutes. His friends worry about being late due to news of a killer roaming at night. While they wait, a store worker asks Cid to take a survey. Though his friends want to join, the worker states they only need one and takes him inside. Upon entering, the store reminds him of the department stores from his previous life. She takes him to a room above the store, revealing that the entire establishment is operated by the Shadow Garden girls, with Gamma in charge. Memories of his youth flood back, remembering when he would share random knowledge from his past, calling it the wisdom of shadows. He realizes that Gamma is the smartest among his harem members but a bit clumsy. She invites him to sit on a throne, and he feels like a true harem king. As a reward, he conjures fireworks from his magic, making Gamma wet, her eyes. It reminds her of when he used the same light to save her. Cid then inquires about the profits of her business and is shocked to learn that she has numerous franchises in and out of the kingdom, and has 1 billion zeni at their disposal. He wonders how she accomplished this with his knowledge, while he had to become a princess dog for mere zenis. He calms, realizing she did it all for him. Gamma believes he came to inquire about the killing incident. Cid, who is unaware, plays along. She briefs him on the incident, and he suspects Alexia's involvement, so he tells them that he will look into it. Gamma introduces Nu, the girl from earlier. She is their recent member and encourages Cid to use her however he pleases. Before leaving, he requests chocolate and slyly takes a zeni. As he rushes back with his friends, he senses a fight and makes up an excuse that he has to take a dump, and tells them to go away. His friends think that he is so brave to take a dump at this hour while the killer is lurking around, and being the true friends they are, they immediately leave him. Cid then witnesses Alexia battling fake Shadow Garden members and realizes his mistake. Just in time, he arrives to save her. Two escape, but he catches up to them and quickly incapacitates one. Nu intervenes, asking him to leave the rest to her as she will gather information from them. When the man attempts to attack her, she quickly cuts him down, stating she's more sadistic than Cid. Elsewhere, a man informs the leader about their men's capture, but he remains calm as they've located the item they sought, and retrieving it is their top priority. Alexia informs Iris that the killer was impersonating Shadow Garden and adds that they are fighting the cult. Iris hopes for more information when the artifact gets deciphered, and considers both the cult and Shadow Garden as enemies. The following day, rumors about Cid's supposed bathroom break circulate, but he still gives the chocolate to Skell and Poe. Skell tries to offer the chocolate to an upper-class girl, but he gets busted when her boyfriend shows up. Poe makes an attempt, but the girl recognizes him as her stalker. Cid decides to randomly give the chocolate to the next girl he encounters, and it happens to be Sherry. Later, as she ponders what chocolate is, her father enters and explains its popularity. He believes the boy who gave it to her must love her and asks if she'll accept his proposal. He emphasizes the importance of social skills along with her research. He expresses that he is lucky to have such a good daughter, but she insists she's the lucky one as he adopted her. Later Sherry reflects on what her father told her, and thinks about Cid. She finally decides to try the chocolate, and finds it really sweet. After that, we see Nu accompanying Cid disguised as a student. She informs him that the man they captured had been subjected to powerful brainwashing that destroyed his mind, which made her unable to extract any information from him. While Nu explains, Cid's attention is divided as he ponders how Skell ended up signing him up for the Bushin tournament. Nu further explains that the cult raises orphan children, and brainwash them. They confirm the presence of a named first child, called Rex. She explains that first child maintain their sense of self, and if they are deployed means the cult has some bigger purpose. Lost in thought, Cid states he needs some time to think and leaves. Afterward, at the tournament, Claire easily wins her fight. Next up is the Student Council President, Rose Oriana, versus Cid. Excited about the match, Cid aims to showcase his mastery of techniques, but they are all to show how perfectly a background character is defeated. As the fight begins, Cid lets himself get hit and uses fake blood, demonstrating his unsightly defeat in the first round. Rose seems set to win, but Cid wishes to continue as he has 47 other techniques to display. Despite being repeatedly one-shot, Cid stands after each hit, displaying unwavering determination to keep fighting. Impressed by his persistence, Rose decides to get serious, and tries to finish him off with her next move. However, the judge intervenes to save Cid, declaring Rose the winner, as he thinks it would be dangerous if Cid continued. Though Cid protests, and wants to continue to showcase his remaining cringe moves, he is carried out after the fight, but he earns the respect of Rose. Later we see Cid covered in bandages, and he hopes to be in the cliched scene, and showcase the rest of his cringe moves someday. Sherry approaches Cid, and asks him about his health, but he doesn't remember her. She gives him cookies she baked, and suggests they start as friends. Cid, unsure of her intentions, accepts. Sherry informs her father that they're going to be friends, and Cid recognizes her father as Lutheran Barnett, assistant principal of Academy of Science. He is one of the people on his list with whom he shouldn't have contact to maintain his status as a background character. They engage in small talk, and he requests Cid to treat his daughter well, while Cid considers using his injuries as an excuse to create some distance from her. Later, Sherry is thinking about Cid, and wonders if she should visit him since they are friends. She then decides to meet Alexia, who thinks she's there to discuss the artifact, but to her surprise, Sherry asks about her relationship with Cid. Alexia clarifies that they broke up and were never actually dating, they were just pretending to be a couple for specific reasons. Learning this, Sherry is glad and reveals that she became friends with Cid. Alexia, though jealous and annoyed, hides her feelings behind a smile. 5 days later, Cid returns to school and notices that everyone seems more kind to him than usual. Rose then arrives at their class to explain about the upcoming election to fill a vacancy on the student council. Meanwhile, we see the masked knight using an artifact to create a barrier around the school, which only Cid seems to notice. As Alexia returns to school, she is surprised to find the gate closed and a guard at the entrance dead. Cid realizes he can't use his magic, and just then men claiming to be from the Shadow Garden enter the room. They explain that they're taking over the academy. Rose attempts to resist but discovers her magic is blocked. The fake Shadow Garden members can use magic, and one of them shatters her sword. They attempt to kill her, but Cid is excited as the school getting attacked by terrorists is one of the fantasies of our psycho MC. So, being the ultimate cringe lord, he can't pass this opportunity to be the perfect background character, and jumps in front of Rose, taking the hit. He collapses to the ground covered in blood, and Rose wonders why he risked his life to save her. She thinks he must have loved her, which is why he fought so hard during their match, and sacrificed himself now. The terrorists then gather all the students in the auditorium. Cid starts tapping his chest, and his heart begins beating again, waking him up. He reveals that he used a secret technique to stop his heart for 10 minutes while maintaining the blood flow to his brain. Even though this technique could have caused his life, the Psycho MC will do anything to be the ideal background character. His magic is still blocked, but he can use it by focusing on narrow threads. Meanwhile, Rex enters Sherry's room. He claims to be from Shadow Garden, but then he's unsure if it's actually Shadow Guardian. He tells her that he's there to retrieve the artifact, and as he attacks her, Glenn intervenes. Rex is surprised that Glenn managed to stop him without magic. While Glenn and Marco keep the terrorists busy, they let Sherry escape. Cid watches the terrorists' movements, and is impressed by their execution. However, he's irritated that they're all dressed in black in the middle of the day, and don't have a proper dressing sense. Since his attire is black, he decides to wait till night to make his grand entrance more effective. He notices a girl running, and realizes it's Sherry. He secretly assists her, taking out numerous terrorists and preventing her from being caught. Sherry stumbles on the stairs, but just then Cid catches her. He advises her to keep her voice down, and remove her noisy slippers, before entering her father's room. Cid eliminates a few more terrorists on the way. Sherry finds the book she was searching for and explains that the artifact, the Eye of Avarice, is blocking their magic. It absorbs magic from users, but it can be programmed to ignore certain magical frequencies. To extract its magic effectively, it would need to be placed in an area with a significant concentration of magical energy. Since all the students are currently held in the auditorium, they suspect that the artifact is nearby. Furthermore, if it absorbs magic beyond its limit, it could result in an explosion that would destroy the entire school. This is why her father didn't publish his findings but gave the artifact to the government. The artifact Sherry was researching is used to control the Eye of Avarice, and potentially reverse its effects. Sherry plans to reach the auditorium through the hidden tunnels, and when she's near the Eye of Avarice, she'll activate her artifact to stop it from functioning. She mentions that she left the tools to fine-tune the artifact in her study room, and Cid offers to retrieve them for her. Rex reports to the cult leader, who threatens Rex as he hasn't obtained the artifact. Rex also mentions their losses, and they suspect it's Shadow Garden. As he leaves, the cult leader hopes to be reinstated among the Knights of Rounds. Rex is ambushed by Cid and loses his men in an instant. He thinks Cid's power is due to an artifact, and he creates a net around himself to trap Cid. But Cid manages to get inside the net, and continues attacking Rex. He leads him into a classroom where he is shocked to see the classroom filled with dead terrorists. Just then Cid comes from above and finishes him off. Meanwhile, New discovers Glenn's dead body, and Marco is unconscious. Cid arrives, searching for Sherry's tools. New explains that Marco was her fiancé. She reveals that Shadow Garden has infiltrated the academy and is awaiting orders. Since they can't use magic, the situation is risky, so only the 7 shadows can manage it. New herself can only use about half of her power. As she provides her report, Cid asks for her assistance in finding certain items. After getting all the tools, Cid explains he needed them to fine-tune an artifact, allowing them to neutralize the Eye of Avarice, and New is amazed by his knowledge. He informs her he'll finish by evening, and she acknowledges that Shadow Garden will get things ready by then. After that we see New signaling the Shadow Garden who are ready to attack, while Sherry is tuning the artifact. This is where the video ends. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Your support plays a vital role in helping the channel grow. Stay tuned for the next installment.